My name is Steve Babbitt. My wife and I own and operate B&L Transmissions in Medford, Oregon, which is located about a mile west of the I-5 freeway off the Medford exit. We've been in business for about 14 years. I've been in the industry for about 35 years, so I've worked on pretty much all makes and models of vehicles, both foreign and domestic. Work on antique cars as well as your modern state-of-the-art newer stuff, computer-controlled cars. Most of the time, people don't realize because their transmission's underneath their car, they don't think about servicing it. That's one of the most common problems we see is people don't service it regularly. If they got a leak, they don't get it fixed. They just keep driving it. Most of the newer cars nowadays, transmission fluids you can't even check unless you get them checked at a transmission shop because they don't have dipsticks and filter tubes like they used to have. So you got to be able to take it somewhere where they can properly check it to make sure that the levels are up. Those are ways that you make the transmission live is through regular service and maintenance. Owner manuals are a great guideline, but those are usually in a controlled environment. Most of us aren't in controlled environments. We live in the mountains, we live in the hills, so our vehicles get a lot more wear and tear than what we normally would expect to have happen. We work on your common Chevy, Fords, Chryslers. We also work on imports, Nissan, Toyota, Subarus, work on your exotic ones, Mercedes, BMWs, Volvos. We also work on RVs, your big Class A's as well as your Class C's. Work on trucks, gas, diesel, big trucks, whatever your transmission need might be, just give us a call and we can certainly guide you in the right direction. I am ASE certified, pretty much training wise. We go to seminars a couple times a year where they tell us about all the newer stuff that's out, things to watch for, things to check for when we're seeing the newer transmissions come out. On a lot of the newer stuff through the local webinars that they offer online, usually a couple times a week. So that helps us keep up on stuff as much as possible. We're also affiliated with ATRA, which is a research and development company that we're associated with, so that we can offer nationwide warranties through them. It also helps keep us updated on anything that's the dealers are putting out, technical bulletins and stuff that may help detect problems prior to vehicles failing or anything along those lines. The worst case I ever seen was a guy had a full-size truck that leaked the transmission fluid out and he drove it till it literally wouldn't drive no more. We got it in, took it apart. Anything that was aluminum, that was plastic, was totally disintegrated and melted. There was nothing left to rebuild. This thing was just totally annihilated. So, if you start having problems, you don't want to drive it till it absolutely won't go anymore because that'll cost a lot of money. We're talking thousands of dollars. Typical maintenance schedule, we usually recommend on most older cars once a year, every 12,000. Some of your newer ones, because they're running more synthetic transmission fluids, you can go about every 2 years or 24,000. Typical service, is pan drop, fluid, filter. Takes about an hour. Your customer can wait for it when they schedule an appointment ahead of time. A lot of times customers bring them in, drop them off in the morning, pick them up at lunchtime. That way they can do what they need to do, and that works out good too. So it's just, we're flexible, depends on what you need to do. We'll work with your schedule. We do offer a small amount of other services based on customer needs. We do rear differential work as well as front, drive axles, drive lines, U-joints, transfer cases, pretty much anything to do with the driving part of the gear train of the car we work on. Occasionally we'll do obviously starters and flywheels. Those are things that you got to pull transmission out to repair, so we'll do those kinds of things. Sometimes we do alternators. There's been several cases here recently where alternators are actually causing transmission issues, and so it's getting to be more of, we're having to do a little more general automotive just to make sure your car is operating properly. A lot of times these newer cars, they're using the transmission as a way to get your attention. Your check engine light comes on, you don't pay attention to it. A few days later, you notice your transmission is shifting real hard, it's banging real hard. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have a transmission problem. It's just the way that the car computer is getting your attention to take it in and get it checked out to find out what's wrong. If it's an automotive repair problem, there are a couple of shops that I trust that I would refer customers to that that take good care of the customers. If it's exhaust problems, sometimes we run into exhaust situations. We have a muffler shop that we refer people to that does a good job. So yeah, if it turns out it's not something transmission related, we do have a couple of other shops that we trust that we don't mind referring customers to, and then they can make their decision whether they want to, if they don't have a regular mechanic already. Welcome to B&L Transmissions. I know that your main concern is that anytime you have a transmission problem, it's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. The thing to do is to properly check out your vehicle first and make sure that what you need is actually a transmission problem. A lot of times in newer cars especially, you'll have transmission issues that are not transmission related. You'll have your check engine light will come on, you'll have other sensors on the car, and the computer will raise the transmission line pressure, make them shift harder, just to get your attention to make sure that you take your vehicle in and get it checked out. So let's check your transmission out first before you worry about spending your money. Come on in.